All right, guys, I'm so excited to be sitting here with Kate. Kate, welcome to the Breakthrough Brand Podcast. And we were just saying we're neighbors. So we're like, we should have been recording together in
Yes.
person. And if you're watching us on YouTube, Kate has like this really awesome background, and I'm like in my under construction home office right now. So we're like, we should have just gone to Kate's house and recorded in person
Yes. Yeah,
in
come
her
on over
office.
next time. It'll be great.
Yes. Yes. So Kate and I have worked together on video projects for my business. Ironically, some of the stuff for my podcast course. So she like has seen some of the podcast process that she's now a part of. But anyway, Kate's a super talented videographer. And Kate, I just want you to start by introducing everyone to you and sharing what you do and who you help in your business and a little bit about you and your family.
Yes, thank you so much. First off, thank you so much for having me. It is like such an honor to be on here and talking with you. I admire you so much and just everything that you've done and everything that you've built and the person that you are. So
Oh, you're
thank you
so
so much. It's such an honor. So my name's Kate Tran. I own the video production company called KTVP Studio. And we help entrepreneurs, small businesses to big brands create video content that is authentic to them, tells their story in a beautiful way. And I just love it. It's so much fun. I have a wonderful husband and three fun, rambunctious kids that keep me busy as well. So I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, love it. Yeah, she's in Franklin, like me. So, like the
Yes.
neighbor thing. Yeah. So, yeah, and this is such a fun topic, an important one because video is so huge for us as business owners. So,
Yes.
let's kind of start with the foundation. What would you say makes for successful video content?
To me, successful content is like when you come and you are very focused and clear about the intent of what you want that video to do for you. So it's not necessarily, getting lots of engagement and going viral, although that's the hope. You want to have successful content and be drawn to the right people, but it's creating very focused content that is specifically for your audience and that's going to really connect with them where they're at. So that's what I feel like is really successful when you're strategically positioning yourself to basically help the person you once were or your future clients.
Yeah. Well, it's important, like you're saying, to focus on content for the right people so you're not just wasting your time making content that
Yes.
like isn't actually going to propel your business forward. So I feel like we hear so many different things for when it comes to like what to do with video content. So I'm curious, Kate, what type of video content do you feel like is most important for small business owners like right now in 2025? And then is there any kind of content that you're like people are skipping over and it's underrated, but people should be paying more attention to?
Yeah. So I think a lot of the most successful content that I'm seeing right now is founder-led content, where the business owner is involved in creating it. And this can be very time consuming for some people, but it really, if you have a system, it works really, really well. And it just, most people are on social media to connect. And so when they see a founder that they can support and connect with, then they want to join in the mission with you. And so anytime that you can get on there and share your passion for what you're doing, share the mission behind your why, for why you're creating the content and the impact that you want to have and, the story behind it. Founder stories are huge. And I feel like it's so underrated right now because even on my Instagram, the one video that I always see people, they'll go and watch my founder story, which is just basically like me introducing myself, saying hi, like a little bit about my family, why I started my company, and they'll heart it and then they'll follow. And so it's like getting those videos that really connect and really just share your mission, share your story. They want to know you and why you're doing what you're doing. They don't want to just be sold something.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And what are you thinking about the founder video? Because I do think that's something
Yeah.
that a lot of us miss because I feel like I miss that sometimes because you start to just only create content thinking about people who already know you. So you're like, they already know that. They've been here this whole time. They don't
Yes.
need to know all this kind of information about me. What's some of the kind of stuff you would share in a founder video?
Well, definitely, a little bit about who you are, and then you can share about your family if you feel led to, just a little bit of how you got started, and then really just the mission that's driving. Uh, like for me, for example, like I wanted to be an advocate for people who can't afford the big marketing companies that have, all of the video production sets and everything like that. And so to come and be able to be an advocate for you and be a partner with you, and you don't have to, pay the big, huge, big price of like a huge marketing company, just having somebody fight for you to tell your story. And that connects so much more than, oh, let's just make a video and it'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I love that. And so that's a great type of content for us to think about.
Yes.
Content piece. So, okay, one thing that I know you're really good at helping people with is feeling confident on camera when they feel like I don't have enough to say. Who am I to be on video? I don't like being on video. Again, Kate came to my house for like 4 hours or 5 hours when I was pregnant with Ethan, my last baby. My second, well, he's my youngest right now. He'll be the second middle child once this new baby comes. But we filmed all kinds of stuff
She did
for my
amazing, by the
courses.
way.
Oh,
She
thank
did
you.
so good. I was
Thank
like,
you.
record, stop. It was so good.
Thank you. What, like, you helped me feel like I'm ready and confident, and you helped make sure, like, my hair looked nice and the lighting and all that kind of stuff. But what tips do you have for someone, whether they're working with a videographer or maybe they're just like literally in their living room recording themselves with a tripod or with their phone to
Right.
feel more confident on camera?
Well, there's so many things, but the number one thing that I would say is talk to the camera. And I know it's uncomfortable at first, but talking to the camera and getting used to talking to the camera like your best friend,
Mm.
because that's going to be the most authentic you coming across on camera. So if you can really connect to that place where, I'm just talking to Elizabeth, and
Yeah.
she's, receiving the information I'm giving her, and I'm just so excited to share, and that's going to come across really authentic. Whereas if I'm trying to, be the best version of myself, and I'm, trying to come across as something that I'm maybe not, it's just going to come across. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's not going to feel natural. And another thing that I would say is don't get discouraged, because like I said, we already started this podcast, a couple of questions, like already edited a couple of them. So don't get discouraged and be like, oh, I'm not really good at this. Like I had to stop and start a few times already. That's completely part of the process. So the biggest thing that you can do there is, if you're working with somebody else, don't apologize. Just stay in that mindset and that mind space. Pause for a second and then continue to go along that thought and follow that thought. But don't get, oh man, I'm so bad. Like that mindset has such an effect on the content itself. And it takes so much longer too. So don't get discouraged. Just keep going, keep trying. The more you flex that muscle, the easier it's going to get.
Yeah, that's great advice. And it's like, if we're talking about a video, like particularly the kind you and I have done where it's like, I'm sitting there, I'm talking, and
Yes.
which we've done some where it's more like movement oriented, but like I'm trying to record something, it's going to be about 2 minutes long. If you like take a big pause and you're like, man, I'm so bad at this, it's like, it messes
Oh,
everything up. Instead, if you take that pause
yes.
and like, it can just be edited to the next part
Yes. Yeah. And
without anyone
get
even being able to
yourself,
tell.
yeah, get yourself a good editor, and your editor is like going to make you look the best possible way, and have
Yeah.
somebody behind the camera, like just supporting you, giving you encouragement too. Like, don't
Yeah.
bring in the people that, maybe they'll be laughing at you, or maybe, like
Wow.
that really messes with the brain. And so only allowing those people that are, either going to be supportive and like help you fix your hair, make it go quicker, and not make the process longer or harder on
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And what types of like outfit and backdrop and things like that? Like, are there any like major don'ts when it comes to picking what to wear for a video for your business?
Oh yeah. Okay. So usually what I say is definitely go with brand colors. You can't go wrong with brand colors because it's going to look great with your page. So if you can find anything that's similar or goes along well with those colors, that's going to be great, because you can put on your website, you can put on your Instagram page. It's going to just look very coherent throughout, and it's going to make your brand really pop and stand out. And then also I would say stay away from pinstriping, which is like that thin lined clothing. Sometimes it can cause like a Moyer effect on camera. So it's just something that I usually just solid colors, big patterns, anything that shows personality, just things in the background too. Like you can have all sorts of things. It doesn't have to be like this, like you can see my trees kind of leaning, like it's, it's not perfect, like I would say it's more about the messaging and what you're trying to get across to the people. And it doesn't have to be the best quality video. I'm a videographer, I'm saying this. It does not have to be the very, very best quality video. It's more about the content. It's more about the messaging and what you're really, really trying to do to help your audience and the people that you're trying to serve.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, can you walk us through your creative process when you are working with a client for video, and maybe like how we could apply that to our business, whether we're working with a videographer or not, but like from the concept of like, this is what we're thinking for the video to the final edit?
Yes. So what I would say with this question is like, don't try and attack one at a time.
Yeah.
Like really, I'm sure you've heard this, but batching content is so big right now. And it's very, very helpful for content creators like me, but also for business owners as well. So if you can really just start and think about each part of the process as its own thing, then your brain's going to stay in that. It's going to take way less time. So for example, our process is usually we collect all of the content and create the ideas first. So we're not trying to create them like on the spot if we can. There's some that we create on the spot because they just come to us, we're in that flow, and it just works. But most of the time we are creating it beforehand because you're going to get the best hooks. You're going to get the best scripting. You're going to feel so much more comfortable coming into creating the content if you're really well prepared. If you have, oh, okay, these are all of the, oh, I'm so excited about this idea, instead of trying to, oh, I have to do this one reel and try and figure out how to put it together, and then okay, what text can I put over it?
Yeah.
When it's really strategically built and that pre-work is done, then it just goes so much smoother. So pre-production work is collecting all of your ideas, writing out hooks that possibly you could use for those videos, writing down any key points that you want to talk about. So I usually say, don't try and script everything out. Like it comes across like talking like a robot. And so you don't want to come across that way. You want to come across really genuine and authentic. And so just making sure that you have those talking points about what you want to touch on for each of those steps, each of those things in the videos. So that's really good. And then I would say, yeah, so that's the pre-production part. Thinking about what props you would need, what outfits that you want for each of those things. That's all kind of in that same category. And you can take it, part by part. And then I would say filming day. So you're filming, and maybe once a week you're doing that, where you're, okay, I have all the pre-production work, I've collected everything, I have my ideas. It can be, even 10 to 12, start with that. And then going to that, okay, I'm going to film all of these videos. Don't edit them that day.
Which can be so tempting. You're like, I want to just fix it right now.
Yeah. If you're inspired, go for it. But you do not have to edit them all that day, because it's like you're wanting to try and create a system that's sustainable, right? Yeah. You don't want to burn out by trying to get everything and then it seems unmanageable. So you're wanting to break these out into different segments so you can kind of continue and do this where it's not going to burn out over time. You're not going to feel that burnout. So next would be editing. So editing all those videos, and you're creating all of them. And again, streamlined process. When you're in there and you're just creating them and cutting them all up, it goes a lot smoother. And then obviously scheduling those out and posting those. And then this is the part that most people forget about, is seeing how those do. You don't just like post it and you're like, okay, I'm done. You need to go and revisit those. Okay, what was successful about that content that I did? What do I need to work on? This one did really well. Why did it do well? So we call it the CR squared. So it's create, refine, repeat. So it's like,
Nice.
don't forget that part of refining that content and finding the parts that are doing really well, and maybe the parts that we tried that it didn't really work. We're gonna like let that one go for now.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the, yeah, dividing up, which I've been
Yes.
guilty of doing it just all in one sitting. And I know that it's like less productive and you feel that when you're
Yes.
doing it, right? Whether it's a
Yes.
reel or even like a video for a course, if you just sit down and do like, okay, I'm going to outline, I'm going to record, I'm going to edit, it's like it'd be much better if you did those in smaller increments.
Yes.
So, okay, when it comes to the content though, do you think people should focus on content that's like, I'm going to repurpose this in a lot of different places, or shooting content that's more like platform specific? Like, this is a reel, I'm doing it for Instagram versus like, I'm hoping to put this a whole lot of different places.
I would say it depends. I think podcasts are great because you can repurpose that content in so many
Yeah.
different ways. Like you can use it for long form content, you can splice it up and take little bits of it. But it, I think the part that needs to be for each platform is catering to what works well on each. So like YouTube is more of a longer form, unless it's shorts, right? But
Yeah.
really finding those punchier pieces that are really going to draw you in for that short form content, right? So the long form content, they're here for it. They want to listen to the whole thing. They want to get to know you, right? They're wanting to follow your brand and really get invested into the full context of what you're talking about. Whereas like those shorts, you really can't go into that much detail.
Yeah.
So really catering that content to, okay, I'm going to pick one concept here, right? I'm going to pick one concept, stick with it, and hopefully they'll be interested enough. I've created enough of a curiosity gap that they're going to
Yeah.
want to listen to that whole thing. And so it's really the messaging within it. Like you can create the content and film it all at the same time, but it's really, okay, what's the messaging and how am I going to strategically create it so that it's going to perform the best on those platforms, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I like that advice. Okay, when it comes to content we're hoping will be evergreen. So, like, for example, something like an intro video for a course or a whole course, like the whole course, like whatever, that type of content, or even like this founder video concept you were talking about that you're hoping you don't need to like update 3 months later kind of thing.
Yes.
What's your take on like best practice to make that content still like feel fresh, but also not something you're like, oh, I'm going to have to update that in a few weeks because of the way I phrased something?
For evergreen content, I would stick to things that are going to be consistent throughout your journey as a business owner. So like there's going to be viral trends and stuff that happen that you're trying to create and get out there, and those are going to get maybe a little bit more exposure or go a little bit more viral. But the evergreen content is more along the lines of like you as a business owner, what your brand stands for, what you can do to serve your audience. Basically, the evergreen content is like the stuff the problem that you can solve for your
Yeah.
client. And how can I be so useful to my client that they just can't ignore me? That's the best evergreen content. So it's
Yeah.
like creating those concepts and stuff that's going to just stay true throughout the
Yeah.
whole business.
Yeah. That makes
That
sense.
makes
That's
sense.
helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I like that. Okay, you might have some thoughts on this too, but like common mistakes you see business owners making with their videos, whether it's someone like where you're working with them as their videographer, or just like stuff you see throughout social media and courses and on like a website video and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that I see people doing is, like I mentioned earlier, just really not refining their content and being willing to repeat it, because you can repeat your content. The successful ones, revisiting those and seeing, okay, what really worked about this? Why did this one go viral? Or why did this one really connect with the audience, and drawing some conclusions and some hypotheses of why it worked.
Yeah.
I think that people just like want to check the box. And so they'll just, oh, okay, I'm going to create content. I'm going to post this on this many days a week at this time, and it's going to be great. And I'm going to show up. Check. And that's only part of it, right? It's good to show up. I don't want to discourage anybody who's like, oh, but I'm showing up for the first time. Please keep showing up. But the next step, the next level is really going back and analyzing that content and being like, okay, this one's doing really well, or this one didn't do so well, so I'm not going to do something similar to that. And then also looking at things in different industries. Like, it doesn't have to be your industry, and really figuring out how to apply it to yours. So if there's like a viral video that you find, or a video that does really well, and you're like, okay, how can I apply this to my business? And you think, oh, I'm a product or I'm a service, I can't do it. Yes, you can. There is a way that you can hypothesize what worked, apply it, try it. And trial reels are so great for that right now. I don't know if you've tried any of the trial reels, but they are so good. If you're just a little bit self-conscious about, oh, I don't know if this video will do well, just put it as a trial reel and just kind of see. And
Can you
then,
explain to us what that is for people who have?
yes,
I personally have seen it but not done it. So yeah, tell us how that
yes.
works.
Okay, so when you're going to post your video, there'll be like a little toggle on Instagram that says trial reel. And unfortunately, you can't schedule the videos, so you do have to post immediately. But it basically allows you to A/B test your content. So I've done things where I'll post a video and I'll send it out, and just kind of see, just kind of like look and see how it does. And if it doesn't really get the engagement that I want, it's only really going to the non-followers. So nobody on your brand, no one that follows you currently, is going to see that video. And then if it does well, right, it gets over a few thousand views or something like that, or even goes viral, then you can post it to your page. And then your audience can see that video. And so it really allows you to test those videos and see, okay, I think I'm going to, do this video at 2:00 and test this hook. And then I'm going to post this video at 4:00 and test this hook, and then see where they go. And oh my goodness, it's a game changer. It is a game changer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So does Instagram like tell you come back at this time and we'll see how it did, or does it take it down for you?
It notifies you and says, this reel is doing really good. Do you want to share it to your audience?
Okay. I did not realize that's how it works. I love that. And that is when we think too about how it's so important to create content, not just for like the people who already follow you. That's a great way to like really test it, like you're saying, and tell Instagram like, hey, I'm wanting this to go to a new audience. I'm literally going to try that today. Now that you've explained it to me, because I've been so curious about that.
Yeah, it's great.
That.
And just try different hooks, because it's amazing. It's amazing. Like, I did this one recently with my daughter, and she was doing a garage sale. I don't know if you saw
that.
Yeah. So we were having a garage sale, and it was pouring rain. And so she and her sister had the idea of dressing up like a dinosaur and getting this garage sale sign and like flipping it like and so of course I'm like, okay, this is a proud mom moment. I'm just going to record a little clip here of her like out on the front, just, doing this, flipping this little sign, looking adorable. But the hook that I tried a couple different ones, but the hook that I put was, when your 7-year-old understands marketing better than most adults, I think was the hook.
Yeah.
And it did so well because it had so much of a curiosity gap. And then like people were like, wait, what does a 7-year-old know that I don't? And then of course you don't see a dinosaur dancing with a sign every day on the street. So that stops the scroll and makes you want to look. And I think it was 13 seconds and the watch time was 13. Like everyone watched it all the way through, every view. So it was very cool to kind of test that out and see, okay, this is the best hook for it
Yeah.
before I posted it to my audience, which was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. And yeah, I love what you were saying about, well, you said two things: repeating content, like of
Yes.
looking for what to repeat, and then also looking at different industries. But real quick on repeating content, and, looking at like, okay, did that do well? Should I do something similar? Or,
Mm-hmm.
the same thing? I'm curious your thoughts on this. Like, I guess, I mean, I think the answer is probably like a little bit of both, but I want to hear how you would explain this. But like, let's say you have a reel that does go viral, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's not viral, but you're like, oh, like people really liked it. It's not like those crazy numbers, but you're like, this went well. Okay.
Right, right.
Should you like repost the exact same thing months later, and or should you just use that as inspiration for more content? I guess I'm asking like, what is your take on like literally reposting the same thing?
I have reposted the same thing, but what I do is I try and make it better. And it's very much like a science experiment, right? You're making a hypothesis. You're saying, okay, I think this video did well because of this hook. And people watch it through the first 3 to 5 seconds. And you can really see the watch time on those videos and kind of see where they dropped off. Maybe it was too long. Maybe, at this point they hit a wall and they were just like not interested anymore. And some people, they give away the value too early. And so they have everything in the text in the very beginning. And then it's like, okay, well, what's the point of watching the video? Because I just saw it in that text. So it's like kind of creating a little bit of a curiosity gap there, and then holding it out till the end. But always, when you're reposting, always try and make it a little bit better. See if, like, I reposted a couple of videos that I had done a few years ago. And another thing is that your audience doesn't always see that video. Like, there were so many posts that I got on engagement on those videos that I had already posted. I mean, they'd never seen it before, and they were like, this is great. Oh my goodness, And so only a certain percentage of your audience actually sees those videos anyway. Like, I mean, think about the people that you follow, that you click and follow. Like, you're not seeing all of their content unless they're your close friend or something. You're like going to their page and watching, and you're looking out for their content. But most of the time, you're not seeing all of that content that they're posting. So I always say, don't get self-conscious. Like, if you're, trying to promote an event or something that is happening that's big for your company, like, don't get self-conscious about posting about it several times over, a couple of weeks. The people that, you might get a few unfollows, but overall, the majority of people are going to be well educated on your event, and they're going to know it's coming up, which is obviously the result that you want.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that not everyone sees everything.
Yes.
Yeah, so when you say like repost it but make it better, would that mean, because I'm thinking like how you can literally, there's all these different websites where you can put in the URL of an Instagram reel
Mhm.
and download it directly where it downloads with music, the same text and all that. Because a lot of times, like, well, I don't have access to the original because I posted it. And so it's not
Mhm.
like a draft anymore where I can edit it. So would you like not do it that way and instead like redo it with the same concept? Or would you literally download the exact same thing and repost it?
So usually what I do with my reels before I post, there's like a save option on your
Yeah.
reels. And so I always make sure that I save it beforehand. It's always good to save a copy without text as well. So if you edit on Instagram and you're editing on there, you're using that as your editing software, always save it without text and then with text, just in case you want to repost that later on. But yeah, I would say just always try and make it a little bit better. If it did really well and it like literally went viral, you can test it again and see, okay, was this a fluke? Was there something, is just really well built? But try and be strategic. Try and find those things that have made it successful. Start creating hypotheses so you can understand why it went viral and kind of understand the formula for your audience so it can happen again.
Yeah, something I like doing is on the Instagram analytics, going to like past 90 days, show me the ones you can sort it by like only seeing
Mhm.
reels or seeing all posts and seeing what got the most likes or the most comments or the most views or just generalized engagement, most saves. I mean, you can get so specific.
Mhm.
And oftentimes for me, it's stuff where I'm like, this is not repeatable. Like it was my pregnancy announcement. Like, okay,
Right.
like that got a lot for a reason that's like very unique and I understand why. But then there's other ones where I'm like, oh, wait, like that one where I was giving this like tip promoting a freebie like
Mhm.
did really well. Like what can I do to like redo
Yes.
that same reel but like refilm it or use different b-roll with different text and like all that. So I think
Yes.
just if people are like, wait, where do I start to even know, like looking in those analytics is helpful.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Analytics is so helpful. As much data as you can have
Yeah.
is good, but watch time is a big one to look at.
Oh
Shares
yeah.
is also a very telling to whether people find it relatable. And
Yeah.
then another thing that I always look for in my comments and my engagement is, oh my gosh, this is so me, or oh, I identify with this. Then that means that I'm hitting it, like I'm on
Yeah.
the trail of
Yeah.
making content that's really identifying with my ideal clients and my audience.
Yeah, that's a good like framework to look through. Okay, yeah, I love all these video tips. Let's pivot a little bit before we like finish up this conversation to talk. I know it's going to feel like for some people you might be like, "Wait, this is a huge pivot from what you were just talking about." But we're going to talk about life as a working mom, which
Yes.
I know many of you guys listening can relate to this. But Kate has two girls and a boy, and her boy is the same-ish age, a few months different from my oldest boy. But Kate's someone who started her business after having kids. And yeah, I just want to, let's start with this. We have some questions where we're going to talk about like how being a working mom has like influenced your approach to business and systems you use and things like that. But I'd love for you to just briefly share what it was like when you started your business as a mom. You had three kids already and you were taking it like, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this business thing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So I was freelancing. I had worked for several production companies before that, a few, and then
Yeah.
just decided to go home with my second daughter. I think it was Peyton that I decided to go home with and just be a stay-at-home mom, which I mean, that is a job in itself. Like there's so
Yeah.
much that you do for those babies. And I just didn't want to miss those moments. And I'm so grateful. It was like such a special time in my life that I'm so grateful for. And then COVID hit. And it threw us for a little bit of a whirl. And so my husband was like, oh man, I think we need to like start exploring some other options of what we can be, doing to kind of add extra income so that we can, make sure that, all the kids are taken care of, all the needs are met. So I started looking into like lots of different options. And of course, he was just like, Kate, like you're this amazing videographer. You do freelance work all the time. Like, why not just start your own company and you can just, work when you want to work? Which,
Yeah.
I mean, starting a company, that's not really how it works, but
Yeah.
now I know that, but then I didn't. But so it was right after COVID and just started. I did not think of myself as a business owner.
Yeah.
I had no finance background. I really came from just a home that, like, it definitely, like, we were very loved, but we just never had that financial freedom to, talk about it as much. And so I didn't really have the knowledge about that aspect of building a business. And so I felt so intimidated, but I prayed is really what I did. I prayed and I just said, God, please just make this so clear. Please just make this so clear. And I'm going to take my husband's lead and I'm just going to try it. And we're
Yeah.
just going to see. And then God obviously just exploded it. And it just was it just picked up so fast. And I was like, okay, well, I guess this is what he wanted, and,
Yeah.
but it has been the craziest ride. It's been so fun. And obviously, too, there's so much introspection that happens as you're building a business and you're talking to lots and lots of different people. And I think the biggest thing that I've taken away from it is just the more you can just really care about the clients and care about their success. Um, the more it's just going to blossom and bloom. And I think we have 85% return rate right now, which is mind blowing. It's just
Yeah.
so crazy, all of these people that are just coming back. But I think one of the things that really helped me was I was connecting with these babies for, a few years and helping them grow and helping them learn and learning just, I mean, when you're a mom, you're just looking for the needs constantly. You're just
Yeah.
looking to try and be the best that you can be, best role model and the best person that you can be for these babies. And so I carried that over into my work and just the care and the attention to, okay, how can I serve you better? And how can I really look to your needs? And how can we just keep going and keep growing together? And so I feel like that has served me so well. And it was definitely very challenging. I think Gavin was 1 at the time.
Yeah.
And so it was a brand new world. And I was just constantly just learning. Like I just felt like that's what my goal was, just consuming information and constantly learning. And I've always loved that. Definitely loved school and, the straight A student and everything, because I just loved to learn. And so I feel like that served me well in creating this business as well. But just never feeling like, oh, I've arrived. I can just do this from now on, especially in content.
Yeah.
You have to be in a place where you can receive feedback and be able to be grateful for that feedback and then apply it and then move forward. And I feel like, that's something that is really, really hard to do at the beginning is,
Mm-hmm.
get lots of feedback from lots of different people. Oh, I don't like this, or, oh, can we change this? And not being, especially as a creative, it's very hard to do, not be so emotionally attached to whatever you're
Yeah.
creating that you can't give over that to make it better for the client. And so I feel like just the mindset of growth, and you're not failing, you're just growing, you're just trying to figure out that next step to take that is going to be better for your family and better overall for your clients, and not getting discouraged in the process. I think that's huge.
Yes, I love all that. And you're such a good example of like something I talk about on this podcast often of like, you don't have to do it all at once. Like you were a stay-at-home
No.
mom and you weren't like, I
No.
have to start a business before like when my baby's 3 months old. You're like, no, like I'm going to
Yes.
wait. I'm going to
Yeah.
do this first, this thing that's a big priority to me. And then I'm going to keep doing the motherhood thing while adding in the business when the timing feels right. So
Right.
hope that speaks to someone like hearing that that was Kate's journey, that you
Yes.
did it that way. And I'm curious when you were first, you might not be able to remember this that
I'll
well, but when you
try.
were like first starting your business with 3 kids, the youngest being around 1, like how did you find the time to work on your business when you were used to whatever childcare you had as a stay-at-home mom, but like how'd you make time for it?
I think the best thing that I can say to this is just try and get 1% better every day. So that means like getting a little bit more time, trying to figure out, really looking at your schedule overall, being like, okay, this is, the layout of what my day looks like. Where can I be more effective in what I'm doing with the kids, making sure their needs are met, or delegating it out to people that you're surrounded. Oh, can you please pick up so-and-so from this place and bring them over here, and giving you that extra 30 to 45 minutes. Those
Yeah.
little tweaks to your schedule really, really pay off in the beginning. And I mean, I can't not say that my spouse was incredibly supportive during this process. If it wasn't his idea, I probably even wouldn't have pursued it because it was so daunting to me. But his belief in me and what I could do
Oh,
at that
that's
at that
sweet.
point was it was so like, okay, maybe I can try it, maybe I can
Yeah.
go out and a limb. So finding those people that are going to be supportive and really push you forward and not entertain the negative talk, not
Yeah.
entertain like that voice inside your head that, oh, I'm too late, I'm too old, I'm a mom, I can't do this, like enter- you need to find those people that can help you clear that out of your mind and just keep pushing you forward. And my husband was definitely that for me. So I'm very, very grateful and very blessed to have somebody as supportive as him, for sure.
Yeah, that's so huge because when you feel like you don't have anyone telling you like, hey, I think you can do this and you should do this, it can be really
So
hard to
hard.
get started. So yeah,
Yeah.
finding those safe people. And I also always say that like when you're in the early stages of your business, you don't have to tell everyone that you're doing it. Like if there's someone who's
Yes.
like, you don't feel like they're going to be a safe, supportive person about it, you don't have to talk to them about it right now. You know, you
Right.
can keep it with the people who you do feel like will be ready to listen and support and all that. I love that. Okay, another probably like one of my last questions about working mom stuff, but are there any like boundaries or systems you put into place to protect your time and energy as a working mom?
Yes. So one of the things that really made an impact on me is it was one of my friends that told me this. She's also a business owner. And she said, when you're saying yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. And so really figuring out, like really judging those two things and being like, okay, is this yes worth it? Or is this no what I should do? And it took so long to learn that for me, because when you're first starting out, you're just like, yes, yes, yes. And
Yeah.
you feel like you're saying yes to everything because you're just trying to get out there. You're trying to connect with the right people, but really weighing those opportunities and seeing, okay, is this really worth my time? Or, is my child, like, is this event more important? And more often than not, I found out that it was more important to me to be there for my
Yeah.
kids, because that's the position that can't be filled by anybody else. And so it was more important for me to be at the events, be at the plays and all of those things, be there for them so that they know that I'm present and that they mean more to me than, any monetary success that, like, yes, it's
Yeah.
a few $1,000s over here, but like, it's okay. Like, this is my priority. So it's really like weighing those and really bouncing those off of, your spouse, everybody on board, and making sure that we're all on the same page. But I've learned that the hard way. I've definitely had some challenge because I am like, my tendency is definitely like people pleasing. Like, I want to make sure that everybody's taken care of. And
Yeah.
so like, I have that tendency to be like, yes, immediately. But I've trained myself now where I'm like, okay, what am I saying yes to? What am I saying no to? And what's the best way moving forward?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you've got to be so smart and like decisive and really think through what your yeses are. And like, especially when you have kids, but it's like whether that's a yes to like a birthday party or like
Yes.
a yes to this client project that sounds really cool or this podcast interview. I just looked this up because there's a podcast episode. I'll tell people the number. It's kind of an older one. Let's see, 207, quite an older one, like over 100 episodes ago. But I shared a quote from James Clear in that episode. But he said, success generates opportunities and distractions. And I just feel like that's
Yes.
such a like helpful thing to remember, that like sometimes an opportunity actually is just like a distraction in disguise,
Yeah,
depending on what you're trying to do in your life. You know, maybe for someone that's a huge opportunity, but for you, it's actually a distraction to what you need to be focusing on. So it is a
that's
lot
right
of
on.
like, yeah, a lot of mental of like, hey, wait, let me really think about this before I say yes to it, and less shiny object syndrome for sure
And I
too.
think another part of that too is like really defining what your success is. Like, to me, like, success can look monetary, right? Like, for a business owner, that's very easy to go that way. But I sat down, we do this every year now, but we'll sit down and we'll write out, okay, like, what are our goals, for the whole year? We're just writing out things that we want to make happen personally, spiritually, with the business, and as a family. And I've realized over time that my success, any level of fame or any level of success monetarily, will never replace the success that I have already with my family. And so I don't want to get to a point where, we're reaching for that level and then they're not happy and I've lost that success. Right. So it's like, it's really, really honing in on what you define success as, because my success doesn't, like, it's not successful if I like become this amazing videographer that everybody knows, and my family doesn't even know me, you know? So
Yeah, that's
it's really defining that success too, I think is really powerful.
yeah, no, that's a good way to put it too. Yeah, if everyone knows you, but your family doesn't. That's
Yeah.
a yeah, big different kind of priority there. Okay, Kate, to close the interview and like this topic, I'm curious what advice you would give. You've already given a lot, but if there's any additional thoughts you give to other moms who want to build a business or who are in like the trenches of building their business and motherhood, like any advice you would give.
I would say, don't feel like it has to be done a certain way at a certain time. I think there's lots of pressure. You feel like you're coming in late. I know for me, that's what I felt like. I was like, I'm, this old. And I looked up the average age of an entrepreneur, and I think it was like 43 was the average age of the most successful entrepreneurs. So don't think you're coming in late to the game, and really start by getting those people that are going to support you through the journey, finding whether that's, other business owners, connecting with those people that are going to really help you along your way, that you can even, send your content to. Hey, is this cringy or is this good? Like, does this connect with you? Like, I have those people that I send, my content to, that I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? Is this good? Or should I just kind of keep it in the drafts,
Yeah.
But really, there's no right way to do it, and there's no rush. Like, I feel like just having peace through it and just working through it. Don't feel the pressures of like, oh, I have to get it all done now, like you mentioned. There's time for it, and you'll hit the right milestones when you hit the right milestones. But just start trying to get 1% better every day. That's what I repeat every day in my mind is, what can I do 1% better? And that has, after 100 days, it's 100% better. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
that's
yeah.
a good perspective.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, Kate, this has been awesome. Will you tell everyone about where they can find you and connect with you, whether it's to follow your content or to book you as a videographer?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram at Kate Tran Video Production, or on my website, www.ktvp-studio.com. And you can just reach out to me there. There's inquiry forms there, or reach out and DM me on Instagram. I would love to chat with anybody who needs help or who I can help. So
Yes, love that. And I'll put both those links in the show notes too, so y'all can just click over to it. But yes, Kate, this was so wonderful.
oh my
Thank you for taking the
goodness.
time.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
love
having
chatting with
me.
you.
Yes.